Hello, everybody. This is our NolaNerdPodcast mini review retrospective, I guess. I don't know.
We're talking about The Legend of Korra. Its 7th episode just aired.
So
we're at the mid-season point.
You think so? Most Avatar seasons had 21.
Yeah, but according to this one, Korra's got 14.
Oh, that's sad.
According to Wikipedia.
Okay.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Well,
but they haven't been wrong yet about anything.
Well, we're basically just talking about our thoughts on the show and, whether or not it's worth investing your time in.
We love Avatar: The Last Airbender.
It is actually, fun fact, the first time we ever decided to make the trip down to San Diego Comic-Con was solely based on Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, yeah. So I maintain Season 2 is one of the better seasons of television I've ever seen.
No doubt. I still take full credit for turning you on to the show. High five. Come on. Yeah! Okay. Well, we only have 15 minutes, so let's jump in, I guess. Point is, the preceding show was phenomenal.
Yes.
It's been named in various publications, lists of top animated shows of all time, in the top 10, if not the top 5. For good reason. It's like the perfect blend of humor and action and just
it works for kids. It works for adults.
It's fantastic. It's one of those shows that only comes around every once in a while. And yet, for all intents and purposes, they've seemed to strike twice with this show.
Yeah.
It's...
Initially, after the first 7 episodes, it's in the future. It's like Avatar: The Next Generation. But only one person in the original cast is back.
Right off the bat.
And they made a point of saying, we're all dead. This is not our story. It's your story.
Yeah, right off the bat, that's one of the best things they did was differentiate them enough and say, we're not going to rest on cameo appearances from people you loved in the first season. This is going to be their own show.
If you're waiting for a cameo by Sokka,
you're going to have to live by flashback.
He's dead, I think.
Oh, he's totally dead.
Yeah, he's
super dead. And that's exactly what they needed to do. You had super old Watermaster Katara there.
The only one who was plausible enough to live to 1,000.
Only in episode 1.
For like 5 minutes.
Exactly. She's there to send the new Avatar on her way, and then she's gone because, you know what? They don't need her. Because they would just distract the viewer. Instead of being invested in the current story, they'd just be like, oh, I can't wait to see what cool cameo is next.
I made the mistake of looking at the iTunes reviews for Korra. They drive me nuts. It's always like, where's Aang? The show's dumb. Aang was the best.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
whatever.
The titular character is Korra, who, now that Aang has died through just old age...
Or is it?
They said it in the over thing. His time had come.
It looks like some shit went down in the flashbacks, though.
Yeah, but he was 40 at that point, not 70.
He was 140.
Face. Whatever. Point is, stuff happened. Korra's now the new Avatar, and she is completely different than Aang.
Yeah, Aang was more spiritual and meditating and consulting the spirit world. Korra likes to fight.
Korra is Zuko.
Kind of.
In the sense of just jumps into a fight, very abrasive and hot-headed.
Which is weird, because she's a waterbender, but she definitely favors firebending.
You know what? I'm gonna base that on the fact that she was taken as a kid by the White Lotus to be trained as an Avatar from the get-go. So she never really grew up waterbender tribe, and in her mind, fire is the most offensive.
Probably.
So, yeah, that's the only quibble I have with this show so far, is that she's a waterbender, but so far in every single major fight,
she goes straight
to firebending.
And a little bit of earth, and water's kind of just...
Katara shows us that water can be quite offensive and great at combat. You just have to carry the water on you, and she doesn't.
Yeah, but where's she going to put it?
But, so Korra so far as an Avatar is filled with just a lot of anger, also.
Yeah.
Because
she has to live up to probably the greatest Avatar of all time.
Indeed.
And she's dealing with shit that he never had to deal with.
Which brings us to the next point, is just the overall plot so far, without delving into episode-specific storylines for spoilers if you haven't seen it. Korra has moved to Republic City, which was briefly touched on in the in-between comic book, The Promise. After the war in the first series, Aang and Zuko have created this Republic City where all the nations can live together in peace.
Mm-hmm. And
now with the rise of technology, there's a rise of anti-bending sentiment called the equalizers.
Yeah. Basically the world has changed to like 1920s Shanghai or Hong Kong. One of those Asian cities where it's advanced and people are driving around in cars and there's electricity, but it's still
a lot of martial arts.
Still a lot of martial arts and stuff like that. So it's like 1900s Hong Kong.
And there's a rise of this anti-bending sentiment, and they're called the equalizers, and it's basically, so far, it's been Korra and the Council of Benders, one of which is Tenzin, Aang's son.
One of Aang's sons.
The police chief, who is Toph's daughter. So even though we don't get the actual cameos, there's a sense of progression because now their kids are already in their 40s to 50s.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
They're old as shit.
And there's the Airbender Island where now there's like 6 Airbenders because Aang's been just popping them out apparently.
Yeah.
And then what's really cool is it's mentioned that Tenzin has 2 siblings as well.
That we've not seen yet.
We have not seen yet. So, and you know they're going to be brought in because they don't leave loose ends like that. So I'm excited to see that eventually. Mm-hmm. But, so that's basically the gist, is Korra dealing with life in Republic City, trying to learn airbending because the show starts with her already having mastered water, earth, and fire.
And now she has to learn air.
Which is the hardest for her because like Aang with earthbending, he was more spiritual. She is the opposite of spiritual.
Yeah.
She is all combat. She can fight. Aang never actually fought. He fought to stay away. And
he always talked
away.
His way out or evaded his way out.
Exactly. Korra straight up takes the fight to them. So they're complete polar opposites, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
But
she also joins the pro bending, which is like a combination of pro wrestling and football.
That's another great thing, is that it just seems natural that in a giant metropolitan city would get.
It's basically a sport of you get a firebender, an earthbender, and a waterbender. You throw them in a ring, and their job is to knock each other out.
Yeah, I mean, there's rules, whatever. Point is,
it's closer to pro wrestling.
But it makes so much sense considering that, bending, and then they would turn into a sport with athletes and leagues and championships and stuff. And
it's just natural progression of the civilization.
And when they first announced that was a thing, you just sit there and go like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like that. Let's touch on the other major characters. The other two filling in the roles of Sokka and Katara are the 2 brothers, Mako and Bolin.
Yeah, they're part of her pro bending team, the Fire Ferrets. Bolin is definitely the new Sokka.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to draw parallels, Mako,
it's not even a hard parallel to draw.
No.
He's jokey and is all like, "Oh my god, I'm so cute and whimsical."
Yep. No, Bolin is Sokka.
And he has a pet Fire Ferret.
And exactly. Yeah, he's our Momo.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And oh god, what's the polar bear dog's name? Naga. He's our Appa.
Yeah. And then Mako is the Zuko-ish.
He's the good-looking roguish
He's the one
guy.
that makes the fangirls swoon.
Oh, seriously. My girlfriend, throughout the entirety of watching the show, was like, I love Mako.
Yeah.
He's so cute. I can't believe Mako would do something. I don't love him anymore. Okay, I like him again.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Emotional roller coaster.
That said, I like them because they're you can draw the parallels, but they're their own characters.
Yeah, and they've also got their own tortured backstory about
their parents were.
Parents.
I mean, every character has some backstory where they were brutalized by a bender, which leads credence to the fact that people want to end bending,
and gives rise to the equalists.
Yeah, I mean, Mako's girlfriend, her mom was killed by a firebender. Mako's parents were killed by a firebender. It's always firebenders.
Firebenders are the devil.
What's cool, though, is that they're brothers, but one's an earthbender, one's a firebender, which just goes to show that over the years, people have gotten together, no matter who they were originally. Mm-hmm. And so if an earth and a firebender have kids, they can be either.
That's a weird genetics question. I don't know how that works.
Well, that leads me to believe that one of Tenzin's brothers or sisters might be a waterbender.
Well, one of them is named Boomy, so he should be an earthbender.
That doesn't make any sense. Well, then maybe if you're the son of the Avatar, you can have anything.
It's a wild card.
Yeah. You just have everything,
Yeah.
whatever. But so, and then there's Mako has a girlfriend whose father is the creator of the Sato Mobile. He's basically Henry Ford of the Avatar
He is the
universe.
Henry Ford.
He has created cars.
Yeah.
And they're filthy rich. And that plays a lot of fun with when you have Bolin interacting with that, because they're street rats, dirt poor, living on like in an empty room in the gymnasium. And then you have them visiting their mansion, and it leads to a lot of classic Avatar comedy moments.
Yes. We also have Tenzin, Aang's son, who we spoke about, who's voiced by J.K. Simmons, the great J.K. Simmons.
So good.
And he's the only airbender. He's the only male adult airbender on his island. All his children are airbenders.
But they're 10.
Yeah.
Or younger.
Like his oldest is like 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range.
He's great because unlike Aang, as we've seen in a fight, it's the first time we've ever seen air used defensively outside of Aang in the Avatar state.
Yeah. He's striving to be the spiritual center, but he's not quite there.
No, because I mean, who can really top Aang? He's trying to live up to his father's shadow, but it leads to some fun interactions between him and Katara.
And Korra.
Yeah.
Korra doesn't hesitate to call him out on his shit.
Yeah. The great part is whenever she brings up Katara, he goes like, "Don't you speak about my mother. Don't bring her into this."
My favorite character is the police chief, Lin Beifong, who's Toph's daughter, who
is a total badass.
Apparently, before Toph died, she taught everyone metal bending. And
she opened up the Beifong School of Metal Bending.
The police force now wear entirely metal suits. They shoot metal cables that allow them to travel the city fast and detain people.
Oh, it's so cool.
And she is just a gigantic bitch, just like her mother. It's fantastic.
But there's also scenes where you can tell she's really her daughter, her mom's daughter, because she'll take her boots off and use Toph's like barefoot like sightseeing move.
Oh yeah, she is the best earthbender on the planet still.
The music is incredible.
The music is my absolute favorite. I will totally buy a soundtrack.
Last Airbender had incredible music as well, and it's nice to see that they haven't had to copy any of their previous hits, and they just create this music that seems like it totally fits the time period.
It's kind of jazzy. Actually it's a lot jazzy.
Yeah,
a little beboppy. I mean, it's just so good, and like it fits everything.
It's like a combination of jazz and bebop with like Chinese.
Yeah, like it's Chinese jazz.
It's weird, and it's really like it sticks in your head.
You can hear most of the soundtrack on YouTube. You should check it out if you're not watching the show. It's really good.
Animation-wise, I mean, Last Airbender raised the bar on animation,
on fight animation.
And choreography, and they have not missed a beat here. The fights are really good, especially now that the people they're fighting against are more just
guys.
Think of an entire army of Tylees from the first show. They can all block chi, and so they're very dangerous to benders.
Yes.
And we can't talk about them without talking about, I think right now, Korra has the better villain. Fire Lord Ozai was always just in the background. He never did anything until the last 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. Whereas in 7 episodes, Amon has proven that he is a scary motherfucker.
Amon is the masked leader of the Equalist who has somehow the ability to do stuff.
We're not going to tell you because that's a major plot reveal in the show. But he has an ability that makes him a very potent threat. And he's voiced by Steve Bloom, which already that he's going to sound sinister and badass.
And evil.
So, for me, though, I like Amon already better as a villain. Airbender had Azula, who I think was the true villain.
Yes.
Because Ozai was...
the first series had Zhao, and the second series had Azula, and the third series had a combination of the two.
Yeah, but I think Amon right now is stepping up to be...
He's more active. He's also not hunting for the Avatar, because the Avatar is hunting him.
Yeah.
So he has to show up periodically.
He's trying to spark a war.
Yeah.
So with only 30 seconds left, we can't talk about everything, but the main point of this is if you love the first show, you need to watch this. If you don't love the first show, go watch it on Netflix and then immediately come see this if you like animation or just good stuff at all.
Exactly.
I give it a 9.5 out of 10 so far.
I'll give it a 9.
All right, thank you. We're the Nola Nerds. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.